Greetings, everyone. We will be starting our webinar momentarily as individuals are entering the room. Good afternoon on this chilly day. Welcome, everyone. We're going to be starting momentarily. We're having more people join in. Just give us another minute or so. We have 4:01 and I'll get started about 4:02. Give folks another minute. Welcome to today's session for everyone who's joining us now. Okay, welcome everyone. I'm going to get started now. Good afternoon and welcome to the Berkley School of Nursing's annual values-based lecture. It is a privilege as Dean to gather with our community of faculty, staff, students, and partners in a shared spirit of reflection, inquiry, and purpose. This year's lecture, which is a spirituality of wonder in nursing, invites each of us, regardless of role, to pause and reconnect with the deeper meaning that draws us to this work and to one another. In a time when the demands of our professions can be challenging, this moment of collective reflection is both timely and essential. And importantly, it calls us back to the values that ground us, the curiosity that sustains us, and the sense of wonder that can renew our commitment to care, learning, and service. During this session, the chat will be available for people to add comments, and please do add your questions in the Q&A section. It is now my distinct pleasure to turn the program over to Dr. Carol Taylor, professor at the Berkley School of Nursing.
Thank you, Dean. As co-chair of our Committee on Mission and Values, I'm delighted to also welcome you, as well as to introduce our speaker, Sister Dr. Mary-Paula Cancienne, the Berkley School of Nursing's new mission integration person, an esteemed and already loved chaplain. She's a systematic theologian who specializes in questions of purpose during challenging times. How appropriate, right, that we have her now. In a world of diverse and shifting perspectives as well as opportunities, she asks, how do we prioritize and attend to what is most important as individuals and communities, aware that we share life with other kinds on a small, wondrous planet? I had a small dinner party on Valentine's Day, and one of the guests brought homemade heart valentines with individual messages. To Mary-Paula, she wrote, "I love your calm thoughtfulness and your ability to help us reflect deeply. And I really love your smile that lights up your face." We happily bring you Sister Dr. Mary-Paula Cancienne. And just a reminder for those of you that just came in, please use the Q&A tab or the comments section to add your comments as we proceed.
Okay. Let me just bring up my share screen. Okay. First of all, thank you very much, Dean Waite and Dr. Taylor. It is a pleasure to be with you today, both near and far. Let us take a moment before we begin, aware of the beauties and wonders of our life, as well as the troubles, the tensions, and suffering on this planet. Many that humans perpetuate upon on each other. Spirit of light around us, in us, and beyond us. Help our leaders and ourselves to have the courage and will to do what is right and good in these times. We pray for all who are suffering, especially those who do not have the care of nurses. Your time is valuable, so let us begin. Our topic is a spirituality of wonder in nursing. I offer this reflection with deep gratitude for the path you have chosen as nursing professionals, as faculty, staff, and students who are just beginning on your journey. Nursing is a professional vocation, though some doubt, vital to the well-being of a humane society. I invite you to soften your gaze and your heart as we proceed. Across all disciplines and vocations, our contributions rest in a few fundamental questions, and I suggest 3. The first has to do with how we see clearly, or can we see clearly, how we describe our purpose, and how we pursue that purpose well. The first, can we and how do we see or perceive the world today? How do we perceive the world clearly? How do we see ourselves and each other and all kinds? I am always amazed that I have never seen myself. We know ourselves through our interiority, our inner experiences and reflections, but we have never stood outside of ourselves and seen ourselves. We need others to help us know ourselves, see ourselves, and to grow. How do I learn to love without others? I find this to be worthy of my wondering. Do we see the wonder and dignity across creation such that we give heed to common sense ethical demands to show respect for human communities and oceans, sky, fields, and forests, for the well-being of the earth community, and then work hard to understand our interdependent relationships, and then with boldness wrestle with questions, tensions, and opportunities about how to live and work such that we reverence the unfathomable wonder that we are party to? Or do we perceive and believe that creation is ours, given to humans to do as we wish, with no guardrails or community standards, or only minimal ones at best, which we can choose to ignore? How high or low have we set our bar of seeing wonder and of wondering? Second one, how do we see our purpose in life? It is a delight and it is hard work to be a human being. A tree doesn't have the kinds of issues that a human being has. A tree acts like a tree, period, done. But humans have all kinds of questions, challenges, options, We fall down, get up, try again. Just getting born is a lot of work. Childhood, adolescence, your 20s, your 30s. We were just talking about this. 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and so forth. All filled with thoughts and emotions, up and downs and roundabouts. Love and relationships. And how to pay the bills. And now there's AI. We are human beings first, and then you are called to put on the mantle of a nurse and to live your humanity in the care of others. This vocation colors your whole life and way of being in the world. Wonder, compounding upon wonder. How are you growing as a human being in your calling as a nurse? New to the path or well seasoned? Never shrink or cut small the fact that every human being is a world of wonder, is incomprehensible. Even to ourselves, we are unfathomable. Never shrink from the call to nurture this sense of wonder in yourself and in those you care for, even if gently and quietly. This is part of healing and what we mean by caring for the whole person. With humility, we remember we do not know all there is to know, even about the body, about human societies, about how to raise children or cure every ill. Or think about all those religious philosophical questions, like where did we come from and where are we going? Or how will AI change our understandings of what it means to be human? With some degree of humility, let us live in wonder, wonderment, and wondering. More so, how do we pursue well discerned purpose? Your calling as a nurse. Do we even care about the moral dimensions of how we live? Have you imagined with people or organizations where instead of facing moral dilemmas, they pursue life with the attitude, take as much as you can get away with? You might win today, but in the end, you'll be working for me. Just sue your way to the top of the money chain. Inflict noise, fear, and intimidation. Rule the room. Acquire a health system, small or large. Then sell off easy assets. Cut staff beyond the bone. Increase the debt, then sell the system and leave town. But for those who choose to care, then questions such as the following matter. How are health systems built? Who benefits? Who pays? How are technologies used? How do we care for our communities, the natural world, and the intersection of these? How do we develop sustainably? How is food grown and made available? How are resources and opportunities shared fairly such that rights and duties are honored and expected? We come to our various tables, like board tables, advisory tables, examining tables, dialogue tables, dining tables, all kinds of tables. What is the vision for how we grow up, age, and die? Do we care about health and wellness in a holistic manner? And are we willing to pay with treasure, time, and talent for a flourishing culture and society? How does a nursing school like the Berkley School of Nursing, teach and mentor students in the care of others in today's particular world. How I see the world, myself, and you impacts how I go forth into the world. How or if I see the wonder in the world, myself and in others, will help shape how I respect, care, and even love. These questions and their responses give form to society, to how our future unfolds, including the practice of nursing. Before continuing, let me briefly share something, a little bit, of my own path. I worked in healthcare with people suffering severe mental illness, addiction, and homelessness. Perceiving the world, self, and other from this location is very different from most. I am grateful for what many people in these situations taught me. No group of people that I have met have been so unselfish and generous and so plain spoken. I have also worked in higher education in theology, social and environmental ethics, and mission and purpose. And in another corner of my life, I paint contemplative images, icons, reflecting on the stories of life unfolding on this beautiful but wounded planet we call Earth, a small planet, a living island suspended in a vast universe that is filled with wonder and mystery. Nursing unfolds inside this grand mystery, though operating within a privileged location, or perhaps a delicate vantage point, because you, as nurses, stand and move within the inner sphere of people's raw exposure on many levels, their body, mind, emotional, familial, spiritual levels. One student wrote me that the privilege to care for others and build trusting relationships at these very moments of vulnerability was indeed the wonder of nursing. To see as clearly as you can, to embrace the road with discerned purpose, and to act with moral, caring purpose, sensitive and open to the wonder that you are living within, is a gift to you and to those around you. This is an arena itself of wonder, a theater of real drama and life, ordinary life that overflows with life that is incomprehensibly full of wonder, not saccharine, but real. Every act of care happens inside tiny encounters of wonder. And these encounters sit inside even larger stories of wonder. Within our social, political situations and shifts, cultural evolutions, historical accounts, economic pressures, ecological realities, healthcare innovations and challenges, within our circle of relationships, hopes, dreams, fears, and our to-do lists. However, nurses move adroitly, steadily back and forth between micro and macro ways of seeing things from within a location of vulnerable care. Let us pause for a moment with the word itself, wonder. Wonder appears in two primary forms. First is a verb. It takes action. We wonder about things. I was wondering about you today. We wonder how some things work, How did you learn to do that procedure so well? We wonder about people, about ourselves, about the future. I wonder what we could learn from that healthcare system in Alaska that native tribes run. And wonder operates as a noun. We can be struck by wonder, like bam, originating in small and grand ways, such that we exclaim, "Oh my goodness." When a small child takes their first steps, what a wonder that kid is. When we see the ocean stretching across the horizon line with no obstacles in sight and the waves are rolling in, or when you view the inside of a human cadaver for the first time, oh my, how about this? Wonder captures us. It can hold us and take us places we could not have imagined. However, often our culture cuts wonder short, debilitating it so, relegating it to ever grander and more outrageous spectacles than before. Culture can condition us to want more and more entertainment, infotainment, higher definition, larger screens so we can almost climb those mountains in our living rooms. A faster, click, click, scroll and swipe and move on. To be bored is to be cursed. If we're living with an attitude of wonder, may be called a spirituality of wonder, eyes of wonder that notice wonder, you will never worry about being bored. Reflective, yes. The word spirituality is helpful, but also a contested term. For our time today, let's assume it is how we live and practice our deepest beliefs and commitments, be they religious or otherwise. Some might claim their spirituality is rooted in nature, or is an Ignatian form of spirituality, or a Sunni Muslim form. We all do a lot of borrowing and blending. This can be the richness of sharing. The other day, I was walking down the hall here at St. Mary's. It was towards the end of the day, and there was a young woman with a hijab, and she was going towards the elevator, and I was proceeding towards the door. And we looked at each other, and I said to her, "How is Ramadan going?" And she stopped, and she paused, and she looked at me and tilted her head a little bit. And she said in the softest of voices, "It's wonderful." I was quite moved. Most wonder arrives quietly, even unexpectedly. Wonder can be as a subtle presence, or it can be experienced through sensitive listening, or through clearness in seeing through the initial presentation of something, seeing through to more and more until you can see a sense of the light of wonder that encapsulates who or what is before you. For example, like a parent sees their child, no matter how old their child is, sees their child with their marvels and challenges and tantrums, yet always that child is held with eyes that see them as lights of wonder. A felt awareness or intuition at the level of body, heart, and mind, or a deeper or spiritual level. A word which can refer to that sense of transcendent mystery and goodness. These experiences do not need rocket fireworks. More often, they appear as small moments or encounters in ordinary life. However, take note, your education at a place that values discerned purpose and moral action helps shape you into an athlete of wonder consciousness. Helps shape you into an athlete of wonder consciousness. You notice small challenges, silent gestures, cryptic messages as you care for a patient. You are attentive to how a patient and fellow employees are treated. Are they treated with respect or disrespect? You notice this. You hold technical knowledge and human compassion together as you navigate your steps. You pilot through complex moral situations where there are often no simple answers. You foster wonderings through narrow openings, and you behold. In scripture, you'll see the word behold, and it says, be alert. I bring you something important. You notice. You behold broader contextual wonderings. So you get the bigger picture. Like, why is this procedure not being paid for by insurance? What is this really about? You notice. Wonder in a limited vein is just a flash, not to be savored or explored or given time to open us to new worlds. When wonder is lost or so diminished that our sense of wonder shrinks, then something in us shrinks as well. Life becomes narrower. We see data, but not the people of the data. We see numbers representing how many students graduated from this program, but do not realize the lives that those graduates have touched and how they have contributed to the wonder of the nursing profession and the expansive service reach of their good work. These micro stories give power to the broader picture and story of nursing and the impact of a school like this. You are so fortunate. Georgetown's nursing alum are a very special group. It is like reading a book and seeing only ink on the page or dots on the screen, rather than the worlds that those words can carry us into. Modern society has become very good at analyzing small pieces of reality, but sometimes we lose sight of the larger story of the wonder. The health of human bodies is connected to the health of our social systems. The health of society is connected to the health of the earth. Inflammation in the body mirrors inflammation in the environment. See the book called Inflamed, Deep Medicine and the Anatomy of Injustice by Rupa Maya and Raja Patel. That's called inflamed. Nurses witness to these connections every day. Poverty, pollution, and inequality show up in the bodies of patients, and good education and mentoring with systems of accountability and care for employees and patients, with good funding and collaborative visionary principles, makes a difference. To be struck with wonder and to enter into wondering invites us to follow the threads that lead us to seeing complex connections that we could never have imagined. Wonder is the place before that hard press of imagining. Sometimes wonder arrives as a joy, or it leads us to joy, like a breathtaking sky, newborn twins, a moment of beauty that simply overwhelms us. And sometimes wonder comes in the form of bewilderment, fear, doubt, disillusionment, a brick wall, a letdown, a failure, or a gut-wrenching grief, like when missiles drop on a school, or when a hospital is inundated with patients during a pandemic, or when a 6-year-old girl is run over by a car whose driver is on his way home after work, just as he does every day, same time, same road, same time. But on this day in the morning, the town put up a new stop sign at the corner, and the driver did not notice it. The little girl was walking across the street to show the old lady neighbor her first school uniform, as a mother watched from the kitchen window. The child died in the one-story rural hospital. She and her parents were attended to with care and kindness by nurses. These are dreadful moments, unfathomable moments, and still they are experiences of life's wonder, parts of the whole story. Sometimes wonder comes in the form of what ifs, or why, or how do we go on? Is there a caring God? Is anyone listening? Forcing us to go deeper or drown. Joy and suffering can both overwhelm our understandings, our bodies, and our hearts. Moments of wonder, like when a loved one takes their last breath, and then there is such stillness and quiet. We are called into the wonder of life and death, and to the depth and mystery of it all, even in our sorrow. Or when a family stands up together after a crisis and they take the next small step forward. This too is a wonder filled with mystery. Being witness to these occasions, like nurses are, is being witness to wonder. Your professors witness to wonder as they watch, teach, care, and mentor their students over the course of your programs. And students witness wonder as they observe the skill and grace of their professors, carrying out how they teach with heart and mind. What you do and how you do it is what students observe in their bones. This is all wonder, wonder in motion. Wonder can travel quietly with us. In Jesuit language, it appears in our consolations and desolations, in our memories, sweet and tough, in our memories, in our worries, and in our contentedness. In the waiting room space outside an operating room, wonderment often sits just below the surface of our awareness, like when we sit a moment with a good cup of coffee or with a friend, not thinking about anything in particular, just watching and listening to a small slice of life, simply present as consciousness. as soul. Today, there are many gifted thinkers who are exploring the nature of consciousness. Michael Pollan, in a book he recently wrote, A World Appears, A Journey into Consciousness, he claims that there are 20 to 200 theories about consciousness. Some scientists suggest that awareness, sentience, or a level of consciousness exist in many forms across creation. Others contend that the universe itself has consciousness. Indigenous traditions have long spoken of this. Mystics across tradition and cultures explore this territory. Meanwhile, new technologies like artificial intelligence are forcing us to revisit ancient questions and to wonder into new questions that need to be asked. Experiencing the nuances and gifts of wonder is not automatic. It calls for some degree of attentiveness, listening, watching, attentiveness to possible fragments of a story before us, and to let it play. But we cannot grasp on to everything. If we tried, we would be overwhelmed. Rather, we must cultivate wonder consciousness, the ability to focus carefully while remaining aware, attentive, and curious about a larger context. Being aware of how and where we give our attention is important. Developing the ability to observe how we are thinking, feeling, what is called metacognition, it is metacognition, can enhance wonder. A fellow by the name of Ian McGilchrist, a British psychiatrist, philosopher, and neuroscientist, who did part of his studies at Johns Hopkins, asserts in a 2009 book, The Master and His Emissary, which is a study about mind and consciousness, that since around the 1500s, the West has increasingly focused its growing expertise on understanding and utilizing smaller and smaller parts of creation, breaking things down to understand their workings and creating silos of knowledge divided according to our disciplines and specialties. We are trying to address some of these silos by creating integrated services and coordinators. However, because of this arching tilt toward parts, he asserts that we are ever so gradually shrinking our ability to see and understand the larger sense of time, space, history, the bigger picture, as well as a sense of the gaps that further nuance our experience of wonder and mystery and our lives. Complexity, synthesizing, prioritizing, it takes work. And with so much coming at us, sometimes the crowd just wants a soundbite. But without awareness of our thinking operations, we can be reluctant to admit when we are holding on to an understanding that we have outgrown and that we need to let go of. Our motivations for holding on to things is usually mixed, personally and collectively. A shadow dimension of wonder can keep us holding on to the wonder of an experience and not thinking about what is underneath it. We can hold on to sort of Santa Claus beliefs. For example, appreciating the wonder of a gorgeous sunset, but unable to admit how the plant down the road is emitting poisonous gases that are contributing to those beautiful colors in the sky. Or taking a cherished ancient wisdom or myth, but reading it only literally, projecting into it a strange kind of wonder. More so, think of the struggles to realize the importance of cleanliness and the need to sterilize medical instruments, or how we understand ethnicity and race and gender, or recognize the full dignity of women, children, of all people. Can we see the connections between the suffering of people and the suffering of other species and the damage that's done to the earth and natural systems? Can we see? Can we help each other with wondering beyond our blind spots? At a university like Georgetown, in the tradition of the Jesuits, quantitative and qualitative understandings are sought. The micro and the macro perspectives are valued. The attention of the left and right hemispheres is supported, even demanded. Knowledge is blunted, easily hijacked, and used like a mishandled scalpel if the eyes of wonder across the spectrum of human experiences of knowledge are not braided together well, such as done by Robin Wall Kimmerer in her book, Braiding Sweetgrass. In her texts, she brings together the wisdom of science and the wisdom of her indigenous roots, and she calls us to notice more fully the world around us, in the patient rooms, in the waiting rooms, in the delivery rooms, in the morgue, in the city, in the forest, at home fixing supper, food shopping, sitting on the front steps with neighbors, and in the noise and quiet of our own being. The American Nurses Association begins with a foundational principle. Every human being possesses inherent dignity. To recognize that dignity is to approach another person with reverence, not merely efficiency, not merely as a transaction, but with care, human care, real compassion, not simulated compassion, real compassion is a wonder. Can you really explain compassion? The poet Wendell Berry, when speaking of dignity, said that a tree has tree dignity. Egrets and rosette spoonbills that you see have bird dignity. All of creation possesses integrity and is filled with wonder, even the difficult aspects of life, even difficult people. Wonder consciousness calls us to live in an attitude of openness to experiences of wonder that are both small and grand, to be struck by wonder and to invest in wondering. Build that muscle. See others in their wonder as a starting place in how we meet each other. To say start with love is a big step. Try starting with wonder and see where it takes you. See the world through an eye and mind and heart for wonder. See the wonder of living with deep purpose. See through the experience one layer and then into another, till the fuller light of wonder takes you into the more, sometimes into an ever so humble moment can make your day. I'm going to turn off the stop share. Okay. We are now entering a world shaped by powerful technologies like artificial intelligence. These developments raise profound ethical questions for healthcare. AI can simulate and pretend to feel amazement and can tell us that we are wonderful and will do so repeatedly. But it, so far, does not feel wonder or feel compassion or genuinely care. Maintaining a profound and nuanced, authentic sense of wonder consciousness, can help guide how we use these powerful tools to deliver healthcare. Let us build them and use them wisely. Let us not be dazzled or lured into cheap wonder. So I invite you, continue to cultivate the spiritual practice of wonder in your nursing practice, daily, in your life. Create habits of letting yourself be caught by wonder, be stunned. Now and then, even wander down a rabbit hole of wonder, but choose that rabbit hole wisely. Let wonder deepen your perception, your compassion, your courage, and your voice. Wonder is a muscle that needs to be tended and exercised. See wonder, tiny and grand, every day. During a break on your way home, be struck by it. Be reluctant to slough it off. It is a gift. Both those that bring you joy and those that bring you some needed discomfort. Set alight your questions of wondering, gentle, soft wonderings that sit with you, and those adventurous ones that get you running. Let wonder nurture your humility. To wonder is a revelation to us that we do not know it all. Consider starting with wonder. It's a step that we can all take. Wisdom wonder. It takes courage to see like saints, to see even like parents. Wisdom wonder means you see the whole person in a light of wonder that no darkness can extinguish. Explore wonder consciousness in your practice of nursing as you walk your spiritual path. Exercise the muscle of wonder over time, over a lifetime. Do so not just for you, but for those whom you serve and you serve with, because of the many ways that wonder expands and deepens our lives and our sense of well-being. When Ignatius of Loyola was a young man recuperating after almost losing his right leg from a cannonball, he entered into a deep period of wondering, not for the last time. This wondering changed his life and how many thousands of others after him. I think we'll open it up to some questions and comments. I'll let Sean be in charge of that part, and Dr. Waite and Dr. Taylor. Dean Waite. So if you have some comments or some questions, please, we'd love to hear from you. And I'll give it to Dean Waite.
Yes, thank you so much, Sister Mary-Paula. I'm going to say Sister Dr. Mary-Paula. Please put any questions in Q&A. You can raise your hand if you have a comment, and we can unmute you so that you can share. I know our attendees, they're taking a lot in, and we don't have a quiet group. Any thoughts, any reflections, any questions? Yes, so Sarah.
Sister Mary-Paula, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes,
we
I
hear
can.
you.
Hello, Dr. Fatone.
Wonderful, wonderful work. I want to listen to this again. You have really brought about so many wonderful thoughts that I want to unpack, and I'm eager to bring this back to our students. Um, could you expand a little bit on maybe how wonder develops a little bit over time and what your thoughts are around that for young people as they grow in their college years?
Okay, thank you for that question. And I think it's something that we have to be particularly alert to today. I touched on it a tiny bit, and that is we have turned over so much in terms of creativity to, and I can remember, when the boom boxes came out, and it was like, well, it actually happened before that. When we think of art, at a certain point in history, we turned it over to professionals, whether it was music or it was art or that world of wonder, that world of creativity, we turned it over to professionals. And that has developed such that, you know, we no longer sing. We no longer read to each other or tell stories. Remember in the Middle East, people would tell stories, and stories were handed down from generation to generation. And these stories, like the story of the Iliad, were like they were hours long to tell, but people memorized them. It was we did that work inside ourselves. And somewhere along the way, we gave up our agency regarding, and we give it to YouTube to tell us a story. We give it to the musicians who are professionals to sing and da 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 da. And that wonder, now we're giving it to AI to create images and to do videos and make movies. And it's why so much of the art world is up in arms because, and that is all part of this same thing, Dr. Fatone, in terms of, we've got to keep the cauldron stirring inside ourselves to ask questions, to imagine, to wonder. And wonder is, we've got to learn to listen to those small little, when you get an intuitive sense of like, I think I better call so and so. I don't know why, and you dismiss it. That little nudge. Some of that is our wonderings. It could be an idea. It could be, in nursing, I wonder if I should go down the hall and check on so and so. She hasn't rung the buzzer or anything, but I'm just listening to those movements. I'm afraid that we are desensitizing ourselves. I know some students are going analog now. It's like they want to get the cameras where you do it yourself or knitting, these kinds of things. But whatever we can do to reclaim those authentic experiences, dialogues, conversations, you might feel foolish with it. Sometimes young folks feel awkward in having those intense conversations. We need that practice. We need to encourage. We need to encourage storytelling and music and all these kinds of things. So I don't know if I answered that question, but at least I stirred the waters.
Well,
The cauldron.
I was going to say I'm very inspired, Sister Mary-Paula. You're inspiring me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you for your question.
So Dr. Bronis gave up his meeting at 4 o'clock to be with us. So please unmute yourself and speak.
That's there
Time
we
to
go.
get it to work. I just wanted to say this was absolutely fantastic, and I don't know why my camera doesn't work. Maybe it's just off. So you can't see me, but I'm in smiles. It was great, and I just wanted to say thank you for your presentation.
Well, I thank you very much.
And there have been a number of hearts and out of girl, all sorts of things while you've been speaking. So I think many of us are experiencing that.
Okay.
Positive comments about how beautiful and needed this is by Sarah Bell, Amy Brodnick, Jeremy Sabatino. Amazing, amazing job, Sister Mary-Paula. So you've gotten those comments in the chat. You may not be able to see them right now.
Well, I'd like to leave folks with with just a few questions that maybe they can take. And I know that Paula Campbell, thank you so much, Paula, for the work that you did to bring this to fruition for us, and Dr. Taylor and Dean Waite. And here are just a few questions. And one is, did the presentation raise memories of wonder in your own life? And what might going back and spending some time with those do for you? What do they still have to offer you? So I'd encourage you to, spend a little campfire time around those wonderings in your life generally and at different points in your life. And then a second question, did the presentation raise memories of wonder particular to your experience in nursing or your study of nursing so far? So experiences of wonder in your nursing experience. And if you're a seasoned practitioner of nursing, you might want to look at different seasons, using seasons, of that experience. And then, was there anything in the presentation that you think could be helpful to consider or embed in your study, teaching, or practice of nursing in light of the mission and values of Georgetown and the Berkley School of Nursing? So, is there anything in the presentation that could be helpful to embed in your approach to nursing or teaching or learning in light of this being a Georgetown Jesuit campus, Berkley School of Nursing? So how does wonder connect there? And then another little question, was there one thought, idea, or feeling that you would like to ponder or stay with longer? And I encourage that for sure. Is there one thought, idea, or feeling that you would like to stay with longer? Let it marinate, savor, let it unpack itself. As I was saying to Dr. Fatone, we want to click, 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 move on. And we hardly give an opportunity for something to get out of the ground. So what would you like to give a little air to? And with that, I will say thank you. It's been a privilege.
As we will. Thank you so much. Thank you all for coming.
Thank
Okay.
you, everyone. Have a great evening, and everyone attending will be receiving an evaluation. Thank you for attending this year's session on the spirituality of wonder in nursing. Thank you so much, Sister Dr. Mary-Paula. Take care, everyone. Good evening.
Bye-bye.
I know.
Okay. I'm going to close.